Well, hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Whew, I've been home about 30-45 minutes. I filled up the Rhode Island Reds feeder, then topped off the other feeder. I filled up the baby chicks and the mama turkey feeder in here. They are scratching a bunch of it out. I think I'm gonna get my ring down and put over it. That'll try to slow that down a little bit. They're wasting more on the ground than they are eating. So I'm gonna put the ring on there, but my issue has been they keep knocking the water over us, or either it's full of mud and dirt when I come in, one or the other, and they have no water because they can't get to the big water. So I did something I should have done a long time ago. I cut the boards out with the Sawzall between the two pins and lowered that waterer down. Now I did put the boards up under it just so it's not in the mud, but I cut a couple 2x4s here. Basically built some steps up to the waterer, and I close it off with the wire as best I can, unless they get in the water and go to the other pin, you know. But they can get up to it now, and they should be able to drink. But what I'm going to do is put some rocks in there. I just got to go find some, you know, gravel or something, put in there to raise that water level, or actually keep it from being so deep. It's going to stay that same level because the float's going to let it go up and down. But that'll keep them from being able to fall over in there and drowning in the water. It's a little, you know, it's about 2 inches deep, and which they won't drown at this age, I don't think, but is a possibility when the other chicks are a little bit smaller. So I'm trying to look, see where the fifth one is. Oh, there it is, up under mama. So they're all 5 in here. They're doing well. They attacked the waterer once I filled it up, cleaned it up, filled it up. And I thought, well, I got to do something better than that, because that little quart jar is just not holding enough water. And even if it held enough water, they keep knocking it over and getting it so dirty, full of dirt and mud, that there's no water for them to drink until I get home and clean it. So I've lowered that down and put some steps there, just blocks of untreated 2x4. So I'm hoping they will learn to get up there and drink from the main waterer, and then it won't be an issue. But, you know, I don't mind filling it a couple times a day for the week and 2 week old chicks. And these chicks are just about 2 weeks old, 2.5, something like that. But they are quite a bit bigger than they were when they were hatched. But either way, that's going to make it a little more, you know, friendly for the smaller chickens to be able to get water. The adults, of course, you know, they just bend over and grab it. So hopefully that's going to be an improvement on their watering system. And that corner always stays low, because that's where all the water gets. And, you know, when they knock the waterer over off the 2x6s, it would fall and run and just wash it out. So now they can't knock it off and, you know, run my well when I'm at work all day. And hopefully the baby chicks can get up there to it and get water, and we'll see how that works out. But either who, the little barnyard mix hen is still sitting on 7 eggs over here. I did candle them Sunday night, and it looks like all 7 are fertile. I believe at least 5, 100%. I think they're growing a chick. 2 of them I wasn't 100% sure on, but either way, I think I'm gonna get at least 5 more. We'll see. And if another chick or chicken wants to, you know, get broody and set on some eggs after this one's done, I'm going to let her do it too, because my goal is all these Wyandottes and Blue Orpingtons, they're pretty. They're not a problem, but they don't lay near the amount of eggs that the Rhode Island Reds do. Rhode Island Reds just about lay 2 to 1. So today I got 8 eggs from them. I got 7 from the 7 Rhode Island Reds. There's 8 of them, but 1 of them sitting. They're not going to lay while they sit. So, you know, there's 13 hens over here, and I've yet to get more than 9 eggs. And it's springtime. These chickens should be in full laying mode like the Rhode Island Reds are. So I'm not raising them as pets. These things are part of prepping. They provide me with eggs. They provide me with meat to eat when we butcher them. And the turkeys are the same way. They're going to provide meat, and they're going to provide, you know, reproduction of this. So whenever I do decide to hatch off some turkeys and I get 2 or 3 to live, then these will get butchered and go to the freezer. You know, they'll be Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever. And these chickens will get processed and put in the freezer. But I'm going with Rhode Island Reds because in Southwest Georgia, we have such a warm climate. Though that breed lays almost an egg a day, and every now and then you'll get one that'll lay 2 eggs. But for the most part, you get 300 plus eggs a year out of one hen. You know, pretty much an egg a day. So that's what I'm going with, just because it makes sense. And you know, they're not the exact best meat chicken to eat, but you can eat them. You just don't want them to get too old. Basically, from what my research tells me, you don't want them to get over about 1.5 to 2 years old. These are just barely a year, so I've got another 6 months to a year, and then it'll be time to butcher them. So hopefully I can raise enough baby chicks to replace these as well as replace all the Wyandottes and the Blue Orpingtons. So that's my goal. I want to try to keep about 24 to 36 hens setting all the time, and plus, you know, a couple hen turkeys and a tom. So the roosters, they get a reprieve. They get to live 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever. You know, you're not going to eat a rooster if it's more than a couple years old. He's going to be tough. The only thing you can do with them is really boil them, you know, make chicken pot pie and things like that. But it is food for when crap hits the fan. So that's the reason I raise chickens. That's the reason, and see, he's doing his job. And that's the reason I'm raising turkeys. That's the reason I'm wanting to start raising goats, and eventually I want to have a couple of pigs. There's cows on both sides of the dirt road from me. I'm not worried about cows. There's 500 cows within a half mile of my house. I'm not worried about that. I will barter, buy whatever I need to do when it first happens to get a few here. You know, 1 or 2 for milk and breeding, and, you know, a steer or something for butchering to start us off with, and, you know, something like that. So that's my overall plan. Plus being able to plant a garden. I got enough seeds stored to plant a garden to feed my entire group for 3 to 5 years. So even if we have a terrible year, I've still got more seeds to replant and so on. That's the purpose of the fruit trees, is to be able to produce fruit with very minimal effort, because, you know, I'm thinking worst case scenario, when EMPs hit, there is no power. You know, I've got my off-grid power, but as a whole, there's, you know, general population doesn't have power. So I can raise fruit. I can, you know, can fruit and put all that stuff up. Do that with the vegetables we grow. Do that with the meat chickens and the eggs that we raise, and the turkeys and the goats and the pigs. So, you know, you got to have a way to resupply what you've got. So the way I see it is, these chickens are a year old. It's time for them to breed and hatch eggs to raise the next set of layer hens. When they start laying, the older ones go to freezer camp. That's just the cycle of life. That's what I did with these. The 6 I started with, I had a rooster and 5 hens. Those 6 that I started with, when I got babies, those went to freezer camp. When these are replaced by younger hens that are laying, these older ones go to freezer camp. Just rotate them through, just like you do your fuel and everything else when it comes to prepping. So I kind of freaked them out going in there with the Sawzall and cutting it, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought. I expected the brown hen to really act up and cut a fool, but she basically just went over to that corner with the babies and stood there till I finished. But it's making it a lot easier for the younger chickens to get to the water, and I don't have to worry about them at least not being out of water half the day or 3/4 of the day. You know, I leave for work and they knock it over, and then there's no more water they can get to. So I had to address that problem, and I should have done that a long time ago. I may even bring a shovel over and level that ground and dig it down a little bit and lower it so it's easier for them to get from the ground. I don't know. I'm going to try this first and see how that works. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching the videos. All you new subscribers, thank you very much. You know, I gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, and then I'll drop off 2, 3, 4, you know, whatever. That's just YouTube being YouTube. I appreciate the ones that subscribe and stick around. Thank y'all very much. You know, this channel is entirely focused on prepping, and most of my videos include my chickens and turkeys because that's the livestock I've got right now. But you know, most of y'all that's been around a while know I'm working on a goat pen that's going to go down this backside all the way down to the edge of the woods and across back to this corner and back up. And I want to put my dog in there with the goats so they can, you know, be bonded together, and he can be a livestock guardian dog. And hopefully, being right next door to the chickens, that will deter some predators from my chickens as well, because he's right there. And that's the idea. Right now, his job is keeping people off the property. Nobody comes in until they know whether he's going to eat them up or not. He's got 230 foot of cable he runs back and forth on. And if he works out as a livestock guardian dog, I'll end up getting another dog for the cable up front. If he doesn't, he'll stay on the cable and I'll get me a livestock guardian dog. But that's kind of the whole point of the matter, is dogs, you know, have a job. On a homestead, they have a job to help you protect and raise livestock. So that's the whole point. And he is security as far as keeping people off the property. He doesn't do quite as good a job as my old blue nose pit that I had that died of old age. He was so big, people would not even drive in the yard in a vehicle. So, you know, and he'd fight another dog if they came in the yard. But he really wasn't aggressive. Once I told him you know, the person was okay, they'd pet on him and love him all they want. But anyway, he did stop people from coming in the yard. I've had it happen many times, and so was this dog. So security for the animals, security for the homestead, security for me. You know, dogs hear and see and smell things way before we do. So it's all the cycle of life on a homestead. And I appreciate y'all watching and following along. Remember what I always tell you. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe. Be prepared. I've got to go in there and get that wire I made to put around that feeder before they scratch all that 10 pounds of start and grow out of that feeder. So, I'll see y'all next time. Be good.